watching, you can see or hear me, and if not, then maybe today is not a good live stream day. I'm not sure. Um, but yeah, it's very strange. Um, well, I guess I'll just wait. But I know something was weird because like the last video said there was like 30 people watching, and I was like, oh, there's not really like that's not usually the usual viewers, so it was kind of like scary that there was some issue. Actually, let me check on my phone if anything's happening. If not, I'm not sure what to do. Okay, hi, Vinny-san. Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening. Like, I think maybe something's wrong with YouTube. Hi again. Thank you for coming. Oh, hi Tifa. Thank you. Sorry, the last one. It was really strange. Like, apparently, like there was no video or audio, so it was kind of scary. Oh, okay, okay, no, it's going now. Okay, checked on my phone. That's very strange. I don't know what's going on. Like the last few days, well, like since last night, there was like a lot of weird like technical difficulties. Even on like Masafumi Sensei's stream, I don't know if you were able to watch it, but it like kept disconnecting, and I don't really know what was happening because like we have like LAN connection, um, like everything's pretty stable usually, so it was so weird. Oh my god. Vadim says, it showed you like you didn't set the stream, so I was waiting, but then you sent kanji in the chat, and I'm like, oh, yeah, it was, for me, like, I saw the usual video, and like the timer was going, but I was like, I don't know. Yes, oh my god, I think it was the Mitama Sama or something, like all the energy from the spring equinox, like just making the electronics go strange. It's really intense. Cause it like it was strange. Like I saw like the viewer count. It's like it was like 30 people, 40 people. I'm like, and I started to get nervous because I'm like, who's watching? Like I don't know who's watching. So I'm like, I got scared. But maybe it was the Mitama-sama watching. I don't know. But yes, they do. Like that should be something that should be studied. Like the effect of like Mitama-sama on electronics. But it's been strange like since the ceremony, like there's just been so many like weird technical issues and like electronic issues and etc. So um I don't know, I posted it yesterday, but like the clock here, like after the ceremony, and like the clock, it went like the second clock, it went like tick, 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 and I was like, what is that? And it was like going really fast, and then it like went super fast like all the way to like 2:05 a.m. And like I remember that was the time that I saw on the clock when my mom passed away, and I was like, oh my god. And then the clock stopped on that time, and then like maybe like 5 minutes later it like started up again, and it's still going, the clock. It was so weird. I don't know. Like I shouldn't be surprised, but I am always surprised when this stuff happens. Oh, you did see it too, Vidim-san. Yeah, like Vidim-san says, yes, I also saw 26 people, and where they are. Vitama-sama for real. I know. It was scary. No doors sliding open and shut. No, thankfully not. Sometimes it has happened here. Usually like late at night, but I just ignore it because like I shouldn't be scared. Like it's like there's like 150 plus Mitama-sama enshrined here, so it's like, like of course something plus Kami-sama is like here too, and like Konko Daijin-sama and Konjin-sama. So like I shouldn't be surprised, but I get surprised anyway, and I get scared. So yeah, I just try to like it's okay. Like there's nothing scary. Like it's not like I'm gonna get hurt or something. It's just like a little bit intense. But yeah, it's really strange. Like I don't know. We checked everything and it's all good, but for some reason, since the ceremony, it's been weird. Also, even yesterday, when I watched the ceremony recording, it was like the recording was strange too. Like there would be like cuts, like at the end, like it would like it actually cut out the last little like greeting I said, and then it like cut out the the like hakushu that I did, and it was like, oh my gosh, like it was intense. But it's how it is, right? Like it's that time of year, um, and like consistently too, right? Like not just this year around this time, but like every year around the spring and autumn equinox, there's always something going on with the Mitamasama. But it's good. It's good. So what was I originally talking about when the stream started? Was I wanted to talk about like the concept of ikigami in Konko, and that's why I wrote the kanji, and I'll read it again. Uh, so this is the kanji for ikigami, and I wanted to talk about it because like lately, I guess we've been like not we like we as in like me and my friends have been kind of like talking about like the concept of ikigami and like how it can be possible to become ikigami in like this age because like I like it wasn't easy. Excuse me, the air is dry. Wait. Because it wasn't easy in Konko Daijin Sama's time. Like he went through a lot of upheavals. He went through like all these government changes. Like he had to stop praying to Kami-sama for a long time. He had to take down his altar. People were like coming in and destroying his altar. Even the first like disciples of Konko Daijin Sama, like they went through really hard, difficult times as well. Like we were reading through with Reverend Takahashi Tomi's bio, like her biography. Like she went through so many crazy like situations where like people were spreading like not just spreading gossip about her, but like she had to go through like a lot of tribulations with like the villagers and like being harassed and um like trying like people trying to ruin her, and they even locked her in like a like a chicken pen for like a month, and like that's like it's just insane what was happening to them, right? But even through all these like hardships and tribulations, they came to be known as ikigami. And a lot of people like misunderstand this phrase as like you have to be like some kind of like special chosen person, like, or it's like a special like thing that you like evolve into, I guess, which is kind of true. But like what I mean by this is like there's often a misconception that I find among like people in Konko Faith, like not just outside of Konko Faith, but in Konko Faith. And there's kind of this like concept that like you have to be a special person to become an ikigami. So like unless you're a special person and like you're born special in some way, like you won't be able to become ikigami. But like it's crazy to me that like this kind of idea happens because like in the Kyoten itself, like Konko Daijin Sama says, like anybody can and should strive to become ikigami. And ikigami is when your heart becomes one with Kami-sama, like Tenchikan no Kami-sama, which in other words means like not like necessarily like it's not as simple as like just like becoming one with Tenchikan no Kami-sama, as in like you align your like mindset and heart to Kami-sama, but it's actually more like because our Mitama no Kami-sama is like Wake Mitama, like it comes from Tenchikan no Kami-sama. That means not just connecting to Kami-sama, but like also being like true to ourselves, like polishing the mirror in our heart that our own Mitama no Kami or Wake Mitama shines its original Kami nature. So like a lot of people must understand like to be ikigami means to just be like close to Tenchikan no Kami-sama. But it's not just that. It means also like to polish your own internal Mitama no Kami-sama. And the reason that this is important to consider or like think about is because like Konko Daijin Sama, like he was amazing. Like he was a really amazing person, and like words can't describe like the depth of his faith and trust in Kami-sama. But like yeah, yeah, but the thing is like Konko Daijin sama is Konko Daijin sama, you know? Like everybody is different. So like we're not like trying to become like clones of Ikigami Konko Daijin sama. We want to become like a Konko sama, which is like, or a Konko Daijin, which is like a kami sama who is like an Ikigami that performs Toritsugi mediation for Tenchika no Kami-sama. Like what that means, sorry, I'm getting into the terminology, but like what that means is like we polish our kami, like our internal Mitama no Kami-sama. We polish the heart of this Kami-sama every day through our faith practice. And what that means is like we trust in Tenjika no Kami-sama. We trust in the workings of Kami-sama. And, you know, we accept our limitations as humanity, but we also understand ourselves and we can act with sincerity and faith and deep trust in Kami-sama. And in doing this, you know, we don't let like, we remove the kegare, like the bad energies and like stuff that clouds our true nature. We clean it every day and we practice faith this way. But again, like everyone's soul is different. So how the ikigami will manifest, or like how our souls will show its true nature, can be different than, like in terms of like its nature can be different than Ikigami Konko Daiji sama. But the core of it, that it's like the true kami nature, and we're connected to like the root kami-sama, Tenchika no kami-sama. Like this is the same like Konko Daijin thing, as in like being a mediator, I guess. So like if I were to kind of give an example, you remember how in the Kyoten it says like if you can't go to a kyokai and like do mediation with a minister there, you can go to your local jinja and ask the kami-sama to do mediation for you there. And why does Konko Daiji-sama say this? Is because the kami-sama at these jinja are basically like they're wake mitama of Tenchika no kami-sama too. They're like their divine nature comes from the root kami. So the same as our mitama no kami, the kami-sama of the jinja are like also wake mitama of the root kami. But the kami-sama of the jinja are like their kami nature is clear because they're not in human bodies. So because their kami nature is clear, and because they come from the root kami, Tenchika no kami-sama, and they're all connected, that's why they're able to do Toritsugi mediation, because they have that like connection. But in the same way, the various kami-sama of the jinja, they all have like different attributes, personality, goshintoku, like divine virtue. So that's like they're not like all the same kind of like personality, you could say, like quote unquote personality. But they all share the same like divine kami nature, and they're all like coming from the root kami. So that's kind of what connects them and us too, like our mitama no kami. Just like living as a human, this kami nature gets clouded. So that's kind of like when we become ikigami, this kami nature is not clouded, and it can like show through even our human body. So that's like the basic like kind of like worldview that we're kind of working with here. And let me read, sorry, your comment, Vidim-san. Some people just don't read the Kyoten and aren't paying attention. I guess you know, like it's very it's a situation sometimes. Like I know that like it's easy to forget sometimes like stuff in the Kyoten, like especially when you're like living day to day with kami-sama doing toritsugi day to day. But it's always good to like go back and like review again and again, you know, just to like check again the ways of like Konko Daijin sama and the disciples, like what was their worldview, where did these ideas originate from, especially for really big concepts like ikigami. because if you try to understand ikigami in like the typical sense, like living deity or like living god, it's gonna cause like a big misunderstanding. Because again, like a lot of people have this image, it's like a special person, or like you become like this kind of like guru, I guess, like like a Jesus or like a Buddha figure. um and I guess like, yeah, you can become like a teacher to people, or like not like a teacher, but um like it's, for example, um like for example, I consider a particular sensei who's like much elder, um and like they've done like so many years of goyo, and they're like so close to kamisama, and they're always so like no matter what happens to them, they're always so like super, like they're full of vitality, and they never like lose faith in kamisama. Like they're always like, them and kamisama are like super close, and no matter what happens, and I mean like severe things, like almost dying, or like really critical situations, or like severe illness, like nothing makes them like distrust or like hate kamisama, or like anything like that. Like they have complete natural sincere trust in kamisama, and you can feel that from them. And it feels like, even though they're like living as a human being, I feel like for me, like to me, that person is like having like ikigami feeling to me. So like that's what I mean. Like that's why like I feel like always so like inspired and like moved when I see this person, and like I want to be like that when I get elder, and I want to have that connection with kamisama deeper. Because even though like I feel like I have a deep connection with kamisama, but I still get worried. I still get scared. I still get like anxious and like frustrated and like nervous and like all these things, right? And I know that if I have a stronger connection with kamisama, that I wouldn't feel like fears or anxiety or like worries, and I wouldn't feel it like sincerely. Like I would just like naturally be at ease, because I would feel kamisama so close. Like Konko Daijin sama, like no matter what he went through, he like never gave up his trust and belief in kamisama. So that's like something I want to reach. And like I try to now, but it's like it's not natural. It's not like second nature. It's like something I have to like work towards. So I think it'll take lots of years, but I want to get there. And I think that when people say like, to be an ikigami means like you're a special person, special powers, like you can do like miracles and stuff. I mean, maybe you could, but I feel like it's diminishing the reality that like anyone can become ikigami, and it's something that we should work towards, and we have to put effort into it. And my personal opinion, it might be a little bit like harsh maybe, but I'm not meaning it to be harsh. But I feel like sometimes not just in Konko Faith, but like in a lot of religion, people just want the deity to do like everything for them. Like they just say like, oh, if I pray, then everything will be okay, and I'll be taken care of, and I don't have to do anything. I guess like a lot of people kind of want that. It doesn't matter the religion, honestly. Like I've seen it in like all sorts of religions. People just like they don't want to like actively grow themselves to kind of like, or they like, people feel like maybe that they don't have divinity within them, that they have to like rely on it externally, and they forget, or they don't realize, or they just don't like consider that the soul is divine, and it's like part of divinity as a whole. So I'm not really sure. Because I never really kind of felt like that. Like I didn't like the idea that like like it was only like God that could do anything for you. Like I wanted to have some autonomy in my life, and like I wanted to be able to like feel like I had some kind of impact through my actions and beliefs. So I never really liked the idea of like I have to just kind of beg for things to change. I prefer like religions that kind of put more responsibility on our own shoulders. And I think like my understanding through reading the Kyoten and seeing Konko Daijin Sama's way is that Konko Faith is a lot of that too. Like we have to put a lot of effort for us too. Like it's ayo kakeo. Like Kami-sama needs us as much as we need Kami-sama. It's like reciprocal. We also have to put in the work and the effort and growing ourselves, but also like making our world, our environment for the like doing what we can to make it better and like making the right changes. And in uncontrollable situations, I understand like all you can do is pray sometimes, but there's a lot of situations where like we do have a lot of ability to control it, even just like our mindset towards things. So I was actually talking about this with two friends. So one friend is from Greece, and a friend is from like like elsewhere in Europe. I'm just saying that way for privacy reasons. But you know, both friends are really into Stoicism, and Stoicism is from like Marcus Aurelius, like in the Roman times, where basically it's like it's basically the same thing as like you may not be able to control what happens to you externally, but you can control how you react to it and how you think about it and how you how to explain it. It's like how you react to it, how you think about it, how you consider the situation, things like that. Oh, sorry, the comments came in. Oh, hi, Michael. It's okay. Bye. Hi and bye. Thank you. Enjoy your weekend. Dividim-san also says there's also people that I consider Ikigami-sama. Oh yes, I'm glad. Yes, I know. I feel like there's a lot of people. Well, like not like a lot of people, but like there's people who I feel like they are embodying the Ikigami nature. Vidim's also says, but I think that in modern times, Konkokyo has moved away from officially recognizing currently living as an Ikigami. I don't think even the current Konko-sama is mentioned in official text as an Ikigami. Yes. So unfortunately, yeah, I think that like as an organization, like Konkokyo organization, they don't like recognize anybody as Ikigami, which I don't know. I don't know why, but maybe because it's like controversial, like maybe because it's like for people who don't understand, because here's the thing, like in Konko Daijin Sama's time, like everybody knew what an Ikigami was, or there was another term like living Buddha as well, and it was like nobody had to be told, like they just knew like already like what an Ikigami was, what a living Buddha was. So like I guess it was more like culturally familiar. But unfortunately, like now, like after the Meiji era, after Westernization, globalization, and as we can see, like right now, like Ikigami is such a misunderstood term that I feel like if they did officially recognize someone, like maybe like people outside or even inside Konkokyo might misunderstand, and then like it invites a lot of controversy, like oh, why did you call them Ikigami? I don't think they're an Ikigami, and then it's like a whole situation. But it would be not, like in the ideal world, like I do want this, but I can see like why there's like it could be a situation, especially because the term is just so misunderstood. And hopefully in the future, like you and me and like others can like help educate what ikigami, like going back to the roots, like remind remind what ikigami is, not just in Konko Faith, but like overall, like kind of reintroduce this, not just this terminology, but this like worldview and like understanding. That's my ideal. The next generation, we kind of move back to the roots and, back to the original understanding. And, it can always change. Like maybe this is like how it is in Konko Faith now, but, as it was before, it could always go back. So I'm hoping that we can go back to the original, like understanding in ways that would be super good. But yeah, unfortunately, like I don't think anybody is like officially recognized. But to me, like I feel like the current Honko sama and even like his brother, a lot of people, I feel personally, that's my opinion, that's my viewpoint. I feel that I would consider them ikigami because they just are so close to kami-sama, and they like no matter what happens, like they don't lose their faith, or like I just want to be like that too. And I feel like their kami nature shines through their human nature more. So like yeah, so it's really inspiring, and I want to be able to reach that too. But yeah, like unfortunately, it's just like I don't know like where this kind of misunderstanding came from or what happened, but it feels like it also came with a shift. Like it came with a shift that like people, both in Konko faith and like generally religious, like they don't want to put the work into themselves to grow, and they just kind of want to like leave it all to like kami-sama or like ikigami konko daijin sama. Like I've heard some people say like ikigami konko daijin sama is like Jesus. So like what that means is like because he did toritsugi mediation, and because he is like the kami-sama of toritsugi mediation now, that means like all you have to do is like pray to him, and that then you can do toritsugi mediation, kind of like Jesus like vibes, like um so I mean like I get it, like that's true, like we can pray to ikigami konko daiji sama for toritsugi mediation, but I feel like that doesn't mean like we cannot like or like we are not able to develop the connection with Tenchika no Kami-sama. So like I think that yes, like Ikigami Konko Daiji-sama is there to like do mediation spiritually for us to Tenchika no Kami-sama, especially when we're kind of like in this human like level of like lost, needing guidance. And maybe you can't talk to a person like through toritsugi about it. Maybe it's a little bit too much. Like there's situations like that, but I don't think that means that we should stop trying to connect to Tenchika no Kami-sama by ourselves. I don't think that means we should stop developing our faith and trust in Kami-sama. So like I don't like that idea that like because Ikigami Konko Daiji sama exists, that means like nobody else can be like him, especially because he himself said like he wants everyone to become Ikigami. So like Ikigami Konko Daiji sama himself, like his teaching is that like for everyone to become Ikigami. So that's why it's like it feels like a paradox sometimes. Like I feel like it's like almost like two different worlds. So I'm like I just I want to kind of like go back to like not shying away from ikigami, like not thinking of it as like some special exalted like nobody can achieve it thing, and more like this is what we should work towards every day, and we can reach it, and we should try to reach it. So that's kind of where I am. Like I kind of notice it, and I want to like change it. So yeah. Okay, sorry. Pidimson says, I also feel sad that back in Kyoso Sama times, divine titles were banned by the government, and we cannot receive divine titles now. Only after death is Mitama-sama. No, same. I was shocked when I saw that in the Kyoten. I was like, oh my god, like like that's so good. Like the fact that there was like the society, like on a social scale, that like this kind of world or like culture was recognized to the point that the government would acknowledge divine titles and divine names. Like that that's like so good to me. And it feels like we've lost something important in the modernization and the westernization. um and again, like misunderstanding like what these divine titles, what ikigami really means, right? So it's like very sad to see. And I think I like that they had that system, that they could recognize the divine titles on a government level, because it kind of also avoided like people taking advantage of others by like, well, I guess if you claimed you were an ikigami like by yourself, you like aren't, because like ikigami is something people recognize in you, the same way like people recognize what a kami-sama is because they feel awe and reverence, the same way others will recognize like the ikigami feeling in someone else. So yeah, but like sometimes maybe there are people who don't really understand that kind of like situation. So like the what I mean by situation is like the fact that to be an ikigami means not that you call yourself that, but that others see it in you. So like maybe some people just see like, oh, they say they're an ikigami, so they're an ikigami. But the government like recognition means like that it's like legitimate, and like the government officials like investigated like who is this person, are they like sincere, are they real, you know that sort of situation. um I remember like certain stories in the Kyoten where like so many times, like either Konko Daiji-sama or the disciples, they were like tested by people, because they like, oh, I don't know if you're like legit, or like the kami-sama you worship maybe is like a fake kami-sama, and maybe they're just like a tanuki or like something. So I remember one story where like someone threw like rice grains, and if it was like I don't remember now, but if it was like an odd number or like an even number, I think it was an odd number, that if an odd number came up 3 times, then like Ikigami Konkodaiji sama was really an Ikigami. And then it happened like 3 times. So there was like situations like this where like people did like try to like challenge, I guess. And that's good, because they challenge the legitimacy, and then and then it's proven, so then it's like extra like they're real. Because if like nobody challenges them, it's like there can be a situation where it's like, oh, maybe there's room for doubt, like maybe they just got like brainwashed or something. Like there's that level. But when you have that like challenge and like prove it, and then it is proven, then it's like even more real. So I like that happened, even if it's kind of like it's kind of sad that it happens, but it's good too. Like it's a blessing. Oh yes, yeah, it's Takashi Tomi-sama. Sorry. Oh, thank you so much. Yes, that's right. That's right. Um, yeah, yeah. She had a lot of stories. I remember like I was thinking of like the other story she had where like, but that wasn't for her ikigaminess. It was like when she came to Kyoso-sama's Hiromai for the first time, and then like she didn't know, she was the one questioning Ikigami Konkodaiji-sama, and then she was the one that like got like pushed by like Kompita-sama, I'm pretty sure, and she fell into the Hiromai war, and she was like, oh my gosh, like all these like strange events. It's really cool and interesting. And I think honestly, like people say like, oh, none of that stuff happens now, but I think it does happen. Like just like it's just harder to see, or like it's like sometimes it just happens and you're like, and then like nobody really kind of Like it's not like even if you talk about it, people don't believe you. So like sometimes you just have to like accept stuff happens. And um, oh wait, I remember the story. Hold on. Excuse me, sorry. It's like very dry. um, oh, thank you, Williamson. Okay, so Williamson says, in Kyoten, there also was a man who performed divination, asking Kompire-sama if Kyoso-sama's coming is real. Oh, yes, yes. Thank you. Yeah. So I'm mixing up the story. Like, there's so many stories, but I love them. I love them because, first of all, thank you, Kompire-sama, for like showing Kami-sama's real. Thank you so much. But also, like, I liked how like other Kami-samas were like involved in like proving like Tenchika no Kami-sama, Ikigami Komodaji-sama, and the disciples, like, you know, everyone is not trying to like scam people or like trying to like do something shady or hurtful. Like it's legitimate. Like they just want to help people with toitsugi mediation. So that is like really moving to me. And even for me, like when I first started in Konko, these stories helped me a lot because I also wanted to like, you know, I was also, you know, there's a like, little part of me that's like skeptical, like what if, you know, like thinking thinking about it, unfortunately. But that's, you know, that's human nature, right? It's good to have skepticism, it's good to have doubt sometimes, you know, just to make sure that things are like legitimate, right? And even later on when I went to Kenkyusho, that's the Konkokyo Research Institute, um I asked the people in Kenkyusho, I'm like, are there records of these stories outside of the Kyoten? Because if they really happened, then there must be some other record that mentions it somewhere. And they were like, yes, like these are like the village records of like the same story in the Kyoten. And it was like, I was like, oh my god, like this is like the official like village records, or like people's, or like other people's in the village, their diaries, like it, like all the stories like corroborate, like they were matching. So I was like, oh my gosh, like it is real. Because I'm like, well, they like, you know, the Kyoten is Konko Faith, like maybe they can just write anything, I don't know. And I was like, you know, I had those situations, right? But it was like real, like not just in the Kyoten, but like third party outside sources. um all the stories matched. So like, you know, like the rice divination, or like Takashi Tomei sensei like jumping in the Hiromai, or like even like Shirakami sensei's, like he was cured of his blindness. And there was like record of that in the village records. That like Shirakami Shinichiro, he got his eyesight restored. And I was like, oh my goodness. Because that is also like another situation where you're like, how does that happen? You know, because like logically speaking, or like in terms of the limited knowledge we have from current medical understandings, it seems unreal, but it actually did happen. So there's something there, right? So that really assured me, even though I'm sad, like Konko Daijin sama and the disciples had to go through these challenges, I'm thankful that they did go through them. And it showed like the legitimacy even now, like 100 years later, you know. So really thankful for that. But yeah, so speaking of like stories and stuff, so actually I remembered a story I wanted to share. So there was I'm gonna try to be as like, you know, I'm gonna try to be as like privacy sensitive as possible as I tell the story, but just bear with me. So what happened was that this was in like in North America, a North American kyokai. Me and a friend went there for the first time for their grand ceremony, and my friend, like me and my friend were talking about like faith during the whole, like it was like we were there for the grand ceremony, but we were there a couple of days before, because I believe, I don't remember now, but it was we were there for some like event. I don't remember, because I remember what happened in the moment more stronger than why, like originally why we were there longer. But I do remember that we were there for like a few days, and we were like talking about faith and like um, spiritual experiences with kami-sama and like kami-sama understandings and so on. And um, after the grand ceremony, or no, sorry, not after. It was before the grand ceremony. Um, my friend, she was in the Hiromai, and she suddenly saw a vision of like this mirror with like 8 petals, and she like saw it super clearly, and she was like she was like kind of having a moment, and I was like, "Are you okay?" And like I was beside her, and she was just like looking like she was like seeing something, and I was like, "Are you okay? Like what's going on?" Like I was kind of scared, and the sensei there was like, "Don't say anything. Like let her have her moment." And I was like, "Okay." And then we were just like waiting, and then she kind of like came back, and then she's like, "I saw this like vision of like a mirror, and it had the 8 petals, and it was so bright, and then the sensei was like, where was it coming from?" And she's like, "It was coming from behind the altar doors, like the shrine doors." And she's like, "But I don't know why, because like as far as I know, like there's only the tenchi kakitsuke there." But the sensei said like, "No, actually there is like an 8 petal mirror in the altar, like enshrined." And we're like, "What?" And because we had no idea. And so the sensei goes, and he opens the doors, and he lifts up like the curtain, like there's like a curtain usually covering the doors, and he lifts up the curtain, and there is exactly like the 8 petal mirror on like the stand that my friend saw. And we were like so shocked, because there was no, like we were both new to Konko, so like we had no idea that like even this kind of mirror existed. Like we knew like mirrors, like the round ones existed, and like there was other kinds of like, you know, like altar mirrors, like some like Toronto Kyokai has like mirrors on the altar, but not like with the specific like stand and like the 8 petals. So like we were pretty shocked. and and my friend was like, "What, like why did I see this vision?" Like she was asking Toritsugi, to the sensei, like, "Why did I see this vision? Do you know why?" And I don't want to mess this up, but like I remember that the sensei said like Kami-sama wants the doors to be open for like the teachings not to be like hidden away anymore, or like the virtue of Kami-sama not to be hidden away, but for the doors to be open, and this way of faith be spread more and more and more. And I think I still have the email from that time, because now it's bothering me. Like now I really want to know, because I remember we talked about it on email after, and it was like very intense, and now I want to find it because I just remembered the story. But the reason why I wanted to bring this story up is because like it's not like the same level as like, what happened with Shirakami Shinichiro sensei, or like Takashi Tomie sensei. Like those are like really strong faith stories. But I guess it was one of those faith stories that happened like in like the present day in like our lives, that was so like strange, like because you couldn't really explain how my friend saw the mirror. Especially, it was our first time there. We were both pretty new to Konko. There was a lot of things, like there was no reason for her to really like make it up, I guess. You know what I mean? And of course, like I trust my friend. And the whole time leading up to it, we are talking about like Kami-sama and faith, and like, she had been through so much in her life, and Kami-sama saved her from those situations. So it was like really, sincere. Like it wasn't just like out of nowhere. Like we had been talking the whole time about like really serious stuff. Her faith that she'd been through with Kami-sama, everything. And it was like the grand ceremony day, so like everything was like very like it came together. It wasn't just like a random situation. But for me, like that was very like powerful, and I still cannot forget like my friend's face when that was happening, and like just the like not just her face or like the sensei being there, but like the whole situation, like the energy, I don't know, like the vibes, the atmosphere, like there was something special and like intense about it. And it's kind of like everything kind of just came together for that to happen. So yeah, it was like just one of those things where it was like, this can happen. This can happen with Kami-sama especially. And like, why does it happen? Because my friend's first thought was like, why? And then it was like the message, like, to open Konko Faith more, like open the shrine doors. Don't hide the mirror anymore, but like reveal the mirror to the world. So it was really moving. But let me see, because I remember. Sorry, I'm gonna try to see if I can find it. Um, but it was like it was a lot, and it was a long time ago. It was probably, I would want to say, like 2014 or something like that. It was quite a long time ago, and I still remember it. Like I don't remember exactly, like, because again, like the whole thing was like just so much. Okay, okay, wait. Okay, I found the email. I found the email. Um. Okay. Sorry. Hold on. Okay. Sorry. I'm reading the email. I probably look crazy as I'm reading this email. Um. So sorry. Okay. So yeah. So like basically um sorry. The crazy thing was that like all of this was like related to Takashi Tomy Sensei and like so many things. But basically like what happened was that like, yeah, like my friend like saw this vision, and then I missed the part, but she saw the Tenchiku Kitsuke as well, like in front of the mirror. And like it was like a whole like vision of like the Tenchiku Kitsuke, the mirror, and like the doors opening and like opening the way as a faith. And yeah, like that's I just read it again, and it was like the whole thing. So it was a lot. It was a lot. And then after that moment too, it wasn't just like that was it. But then like that whole like year had so many things happen after that situation, and then it kept going. And then that was like 6 months later. That was when like the whole situation happened, where like I accepted to try to train for Gakuin, and then going through Gakuin, and then like moving to Japan, etc., etc. And my friend continued on her path. I'm just not gonna like go into details because it's a live stream, um, and like that's her story to tell, So I don't want to like, you know, I want to respect that. So yeah, but just like in terms of like the fact that like these situations can happen even in modern times. um I want to like talk about that because a lot of people think like ikigami is just like a relic of the past. Like people, they don't like it doesn't happen anymore, or like people can't become ikigami anymore. They just have to follow Konko Daiji-sama, or like Kami-sama doesn't talk to people anymore, or like Kami-sama doesn't give visions to people anymore, etc., etc. But in my experience, that is not true. And again, all of it goes down to like practicing faith day to day, and our effort we put into connecting to Kami-sama, and um, having like an open mind. And what I mean by that is like not closing off the idea that you can become ikigami, or not closing off the idea that these situations can happen to you, or not closing off the situation that like Kami-sama can talk to you, because when you like close it off, you literally close it off. Like you're basically saying like that has nothing to do with me. Like, don't talk to me. I won't believe it. Don't show me anything. I won't believe it. You know, I'm not going to become ikigami, so I'm not going to put the effort in. So all of that is like, we have to be careful and not shut it out, but just like keep practicing and keep trusting and having faith. And, you know, and understanding that this isn't like mystical, like woo woo stuff. Like what I mean by that is like, it's not like, oh my God, I can like heal the visions, Atlantis. Like, you know, it's not like that. Like what I'm trying to say is like, it's completely like natural because our soul is Mitama no Kami-sama. So like, it's just like, you can, like, we're already inherently connected to Tenshika no Kami-sama because our Mitama no Kami is a Wake Mitama. So like, it's natural that you can talk to Kami-sama because like our soul literally comes from Kami-sama. So like, there already is a natural connection. It's not like you're like a chosen one, like special power, like I'm psychic forever. Like, you know, it's not like that. So like, that's important to remember, first of all. And second of all, like, having a vision doesn't mean like, or like what we would call a vision, it doesn't mean like you're like, I don't know. It's not like, it's like, again, it's like the same principle. It's like, it's not to think like it's like something like the burning bush level, like Moses and like the burning bush, like, oh my God, I'm the chosen prophet. It's just like, that is a way like Kami-sama can communicate to us because they don't have like meat, you know what I mean? Like, they're not in a flesh body. Like, there's no voice box. You know, like Kami-sama can't like talk with like the same system as like a human body can, nor can whatever they present to us can necessarily be understood by like the five senses, because these senses are for this physical world and like human to human creature, like living being to living being. But like, if Tenshika no Kami-sama is like beyond the physical world, then they have to communicate in ways that like aren't really necessarily like the same usual level. So like, that can be like a vision, using the function of the brain, which can show imagery that is not limited to the physical world. It is, logically speaking, like the best way to show or communicate something to us using the function that we have in the brain, right? So it doesn't feel like, to me, like it's like some kind of like special power thing. It's just like it can, like, that is the way it can like naturally happen. Like, I always say this, but like in like a Shinto worldview and like Konko Faith worldview, there's not really like a supernatural, like even the Kami-sama, like it's the unseen world, it's the hidden world, but it's not like the supernatural magical world, if that makes sense. So like, it's just a world that we cannot experience while in this meat body. It's just a world we cannot like use the five senses to interact with, but it's like still part of the same universe. It's just like there's like a little bit of a, like, a wall, I guess, or like a distinction. But that doesn't mean it's like something unnatural. It's part of the natural world. It's just whether or not we can see it or not see it. So that's kind of like the distinction. So even like, you know, talking to Kami-sama, praying to Kami-sama, seeing visions, um, it's not like chosen one, magical spirit, like spiritual as in like, you know, like astral stuff, Atlantis, you know, aliens. It's not like that. It's just all part of the natural world. And sometimes there's things that exist beyond the five senses. And the way that we can communicate or like interact is through various, like, you know, like either through the brain functions or like through, you might see like something in nature that like Kami-sama trying to communicate, or like even Mitama-sama trying to communicate. Unfortunately, again, like it's difficult to communicate, but it's not impossible. So that's kind of what I'm trying to convey. And be a little bit edgy about it because it's really frustrating for me because I really don't like it when people say that it's like, sorry, my Discord, when they say it's like impossible, or like you need to be like a special person, or like have special powers, or like all this stuff. Like basically no, basically no, because again, like it's just mitama no kami to mitama no kami or kami-sama. It's just that kind of communication. And of course, like there's people who like train or like dedicate their lives to like honing this sense, like developing this sense more, their mitama communication to like the unseen world. Like there are people who hone their skills, like especially traditional shamans and like other like religious spiritual spirit workers. um so that like I'm not like saying that they're like the woo people, but I am saying like people who say like you need to be like you need to like be born a certain way, or like have a certain lineage, or like chosen, like be a chosen one, in the sense that like it's not something you put effort into. It's just something you get automatically. To me, in my opinion, that is not correct. Like it's either that like you might be guided to be someone who can be an intermediary between these worlds, but you have to put the work in, and you have to answer the calling, and you have to hone the skill. It's not just something that like you slap your fingers and that's it. Or like or like you can just personally try to develop the communication by connecting to your mitama no kami-sama, your soul, and then through your soul, through your mitama no kami-sama, you can communicate with the unseen world, however that may manifest, whether that's like again like signs in nature, or like visions, using the brain, imagination function, things like this, right? So that's all I'm trying to say. I'm not I just don't want to like people to think that there's like this huge distance. It's actually very more like close, and more like, to me, more logical. I don't like that when people try to make it like this like extra thing, because it should be natural. It should not be supernatural. I don't like that how it's portrayed as like something outside of nature, when it's just a part of everything, a part of kami-sama, right? So that's kind of what I'm trying to say with like these experiences, like in the Kyoten, or like what we experienced at the Kyokai, just, or like other situations you might hear about. It's just a result of like developing faith over time, and trust in kami-sama, and building the communication between you and kami-sama. So that's really like what it is at the core. So Tifa-san says, couldn't this also apply to Kami-sama Jinja as well? Oh, sorry. um, like, could you clarify? Like what in reference to? Like, do you mean like communication with Kami-sama and other Jinja, or like having visions from them, or something something else? Sorry. If could, like, I just want to understand more the question, but thank you. Sorry. Mm. Sorry, YouTube does this thing where it like, again, like the comments are there, and then it's like and it jumps up. But yeah, so sorry. Okay, Tiffany says, I mean, like when people have visions of them, or when they talk to people. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, that's exactly the same. Like it's just completely like, again, like it's just a natural world thing, but unseen. So like it's not supposed to be something like unusual, I guess you could say, or strange. Like it shouldn't be seen like that. I guess like there's always this kind of well, I guess I'll speak from experience. So like when I like growing up in Canada, the concept of somebody talking to a deity, or like having visions, people immediately jump to like Moses, like, or like Jesus, or like Virgin Mary, like special chosen people, and only they can hear like or see these visions. But like in like this world, this part of tradition of like Shinto and Konko Faith, um, it's actually like more natural for like everybody to again like communicate because our soul is Mitama no Kami-sama. So basically, it's like if we didn't have a body and it was just Mitama no Kami to Mitama no Kami Kami-sama, like it's communication is just normal, right? Like it is like that's all you're like in the same level, so it's normal. But because we're in a body, and we're limited by eyes, taste, touch, hearing, etc. Everything to do with the brain, we cannot communicate as easily with the Mitama Kamisama world. And they also cannot communicate as easy with us. So that's why like visions or like hearing them through like our mind, it's not like special chosen magical person. It's just like you're able to communicate to them through your Mitama no Kami-sama. So it's like completely like more normal. Like it's a little bit more like again like natural, not supernatural. So yeah, it would also like apply to other Kami-sama of the Jinja. And as for like in terms of like Japanese traditional understanding, so like Miko-san, like excuse me, like ancient Miko, Shugenja, even sometimes Omyoji, basically like these people, or like the Itako, the blind shaman, these people would be like the reliable person who you could consult to like talk to like make sure you're like communicating with the unseen world. And the reason that is because like these like religious kinds of people are the people who dedicate their whole lives to connecting to the unseen world. So like through ritual, through personal training, through like misogi, etc. Through studying, through living at the shrine or temple, etc. Like these people were like the people who dedicated their lives to communicating with the unseen world. Whereas like everyone else would kind of be like maybe they're like a farmer, they're like a merchant, it's like a shogun, like they are focusing on other things. So because they're focusing on like more material things, like I gotta work on my farm, I gotta get all the merchandise ready, or the shoguns like I gotta prepare to defend or like reinforce the fences of the city. They don't have like the focus to focus on the unseen world. They have to play their roles in society. So that's why whenever they needed to consult on the spiritual side, they would go to these like special people who devoted their lives to connecting to the unseen world. And this is kind of like where like Konko Daiji sama had his whole situation with the Shugenja, because he like as a farmer was becoming like one of those like one of the people who would be someone who be the intermediary for the unseen world for Tenchika no Kami-sama to the people around him. And he was a farmer, so this like made the Shugenja angry because they're like who do you think you are? You're just a farmer, and like you didn't dedicate your life to like we did. So they got like really angry, without realizing that he wasn't just a regular farmer. He was dedicating his life to Kami-sama, and that's why he was able to hear Kami-sama and like feel Kami-sama. So that was like the big miscommunication. But it wasn't like it was impossible for anyone else. It was just like that was the way society was functioning. Like everyone had their roles in society, and like it wasn't like perfect because there was a caste system, but that was like that was how it was back then, right? So nowadays, like of course we don't have like specific like roles. Like we don't have farmer, like merchant, shogun. Like we don't have a caste system in modern times, and like anybody can do anything, right? Like whatever we set our mind to, basically we're pretty much free. Generally speaking, knock on wood. Like I don't want that to change. But that also means like all of us have the ability to um, like continue the pursuit of connecting to the unseen world, to developing our spiritual sense. So yeah, so that's kind of like the mindset, if that makes sense. Okay, let me read the comments. Sorry, I just left. Okay, Vidim says, in some way, I understand why in Konko Kyo, some priests try to keep distance from super spiritual stuff, visions, revelation, etc. I think for most people, it actually ends up really new age woo type. Like, if some person is really obsessed with the idea of having revelation vision, it can be more of a weird sign for me. Yes. I've seen a lot of people acting like, I hear divine, let me give their message for you. Exactly. Um, Tifa-san says, there are a lot of people like that, it seems. Yeah, so many people. Vadim-san says, I get it 100% if persons just receive some kind of message, vision, etc., like Honko but not when person is trying to chase it on purpose. Like, I want to receive it, be the chosen one, etc. Yes. Tifa-san says, I think the reason why people chase it, because maybe they are hungry for some kind of validation that says to them this thing they're doing is real. Oh, no, exactly. In my experience, like people like that, it's not even really about the divine or the spiritual. It's like it's literally like almost always about their ego. So like they want to be seen as like someone special, and like they have like, oh my god, sorry, like a creepy window popped up. Okay, so like they want to like it's like an ego thing for them. Oh, sorry, deep senses. Sometimes when I pray, I get okay or yes, no, and it's a thought in my head that is not mine. Yes, that's completely like normal, and like that's like not even weird in like the Shinto sense. But no, like Vidim-san, like what you're saying, like there's a lot of people like that. And again, like for me, I feel like it's an ego thing for like people like this, because they want to kind of like have this idea that they're like someone chosen, someone special. Again, like going back to kind of like the Moses, like Virgin Mary, the Jesus, like the Buddha thing. Like I'm a special chosen person, and I am going to be the prophet which will deliver the message to you, my followers. Like it's like that kind of thing. And it's like it to me, it's just like there's a lot of like insecurity in people like that, and a lot of fear, because they don't feel confident in who they are as a person. So like Tifa-san said, they seek validation from others, and spiritual authority is one way to get that validation. And you know, in a way to kind of like gain like trust, or like, I don't know how to explain it, like, but it's like something that happens with people, and it can be very problematic, because it's very difficult to prove, like, as in like if what they're saying is real or not real, because you know, it's like, again, like we just finished talking about it, how like the unseen world is the unseen world because we cannot sense it with our usual senses. So there's like kind of like like obscurity to it, and so people who like seek to be like a kind of like spiritual like leader or guru, in like the negative sense and like the egotistical sense, they take advantage of that obscurity, and they use it to kind of like pull at people's um like heartstrings or their soul, to kind of like gain a sort of like power over them, or like you know, like that kind of feeling. And I've experienced this a lot, and it's very, very troublesome. And it's very upsetting, because again, like people equate this kind of like ego driven spiritual quote unquote spiritual pursuits to people who genuinely are trying to connect to Kami-sama, to genuinely trying to connect to the divine. And it's hard for like a usual person to like see the difference between them. And that's why like there's a lot of like that's why like a lot of people don't want to talk about it openly, or like in Konko Faith too, like people don't want to like get into it, or like say that they hear Kami-sama, because they don't want to be misunderstood as like this sort of like ego seeking spiritualist kind of person. Um, So that is like, it's like really problematic. And yeah, like nowadays, especially because of modernization and like westernization and like, well, not westernization, like if you're if you're like inside Japan, it's westernization, but like I guess outside of Japan, it's more like modernization, globalization. um like anything, like there's this kind of idea that like anything spiritual, it like automatically gets associated to like the woo type stuff, because of like people using it for like ego and like the disconnection, again, that like only chosen people can have this like connection. So it gets really messy, like it gets really messy, and like people take advantage, and it's really troubling. And like you said, like there's a okay, so here's the difference. Okay, so there's a difference between somebody saying like, so like I remember back on Tumblr in the day, there was like a lot, there was like a kind of a trend of like, I remember this one blog and they were like I am like, I give messages from the angel, I forgot the name, from angel something something, and I will like listen to your problems and give you a divine message from this angel for $500. I was like, wait, wait, what? It was kind of funny because it was like very like, it was very like flowery and like enlightening, and then it was like $500, and I was like, that's a lot of money. um, and I was like, okay, but it was like, but it was crazy because like it wasn't like they were like an initiated person, or like there was no like credentials, there was no information about this person. It was just like their blog and their profile picture and their like service list, and they were like, and then they would like, I noticed that in their replies, they would like pray or like pick on people's insecurities that they would ask about, to like have them keep coming back to them, to keep consulting them instead of like actually helping them. And it was like, I was like, whoa. There was a lot of blogs like that back in the day. I'm sure like Tifa remembers, and like other people, like 10 years ago. It was like 10 years ago, it was a trend. And I remember people were doing this, like all sorts of deities, all sorts of angels, and they were like, I will give you the message, my followers. And it was like, it wasn't even like, I think I would kind of understand it more if it was like, if you wanted to ask as a spirit something, I could try to ask for you for like nothing, like it was just like as a friendly thing, like praying together, like kind of like the vibe of like praying together with someone, right? I think that's okay. But when you kind of present yourself as like this, like, I am the one who will save you from everything, that is where it becomes really bad, because it's like, no, like we have to save ourselves. And if I will consult with anybody, it would be someone who helps me on that path, not that they will like be like the one to do it for me. And I think that's the main difference between like, because again, like for example, like if we use Konko Faith, right? Konko Daijin sama, he never said to anybody he is like their savior, or like he will make everything better for them. He said like, I will do toritsugi for you. If you come here and you ask for toritsugi, I will do the toritsugi for you and I'll give you the teaching. But the rest is up to you. Like the rest is up to that person to develop their faith in Kami-sama, to pray, to manifest, or like to receive the blessings on their own. Konko Daijin-sama just is like the person you can ask and can help you along the way, but he's not gonna like do it everything for you. So that's like the main difference that I feel like between like genuine spiritual consultation and help versus like people using it for ego and like the woo spiritual magical stuff, because they always present themselves as someone who like can fix everything for you, and like everything's, they, you only have to rely on them and pay them $500 for angel message. It's like, first of all, what am I even paying for? Like, are you giving offerings? Are you like how long is this session? Like, do you like have to run to the mountain? Like, there was no information. Um, again, like it just felt so ridiculous. So, um, and again, like there was no uh like onus on the person that they had to kind of like work their own growth. Whereas like I feel like in Konko Faith and like other genuine people who are guiding others spiritually, it's always like I can help you along the way, but you have to like do the rest. Like the goal is you are the one who can connect to Kami-sama without consulting through Toritsugi, that's like the goal. Is again like it's becoming ikigami. Become ikigami-sama means like to just have a connection with Kami-sama without worrying, without anxiety. That's the main goal, right? So I think that's the big difference. And what was I gonna say? Sorry, I forgot. I forgot. But yeah, like I don't know, like to me that's the big difference. And unfortunately, a lot of people get it all like mixed up together. Especially when you don't have a lot of experience with both sides. Like a lot of people just like when they hear like a spiritual consultant or like a spiritual person, they immediately think of like the woo people, and it's really unfortunate. And I would like to possibly like shift the understanding from like spiritual stuff in terms of like communicating or like having visions with the unseen world. It shouldn't be seen as like some kind of like supernatural magical chosen one thing. It really is like just you're communicating from your Mitama no Kami-sama. So that's what I hope to express. And like of course, like don't forget, because here's the other thing. With the people who are like very like egotistical minded and spiritual stuff, they're always like diminishing this experience as a human. Like like I understand that being a human's not easy, and like sometimes I joke about like being a human. It's like, oh my god, like it's like it's a whole thing to be human and like have limitations and health problems, etc., etc. But it's still important to live as a human and to live our daily lives. We shouldn't be like obsessive over spiritual stuff or like enlightenment or like like the teaching says, like don't become obsessive, don't become like fanatical. It's important to be grounded in this life. It shouldn't be like you try to like become something, like try to become like there's a teaching that says humans should act like humans. And what that means is like even though we have connection to Kami-sama and like we can have spiritual experiences, we shouldn't act like we don't need to eat to survive, or like we don't use the bathroom or etc. Like we shouldn't act like we're not human, or like be fanatical about it. And I think that's also a difference, because in people who like are like spiritual for ego reasons, they often like to pretend that they're like above eating food to survive, or like they don't have to use the bathroom, or like they don't need to sleep or something. Like obviously that's not true. Obviously like we're all human beings, so like you cannot forget that reality. And I feel like a lot of people who just get into spiritual stuff for their ego because they want to feel like they're insecure about themselves, so they want to feel like a bigger person or a stronger person, they try to ignore the fact that they are human and we have human needs, and we should not pretend to not be like, we should not ignore the fact that we're human. So that's another difference, because like even Kongo Daiji-sama, after he became Ikigami or like recognizes Ikigami, like in his diary, he still wrote like today, like it's kind of it's kind of crazy. I want to just say, okay, he wrote his diary like today I had diarrhea. Like he didn't care like about like his appearances or whatever, like or like people called him Ikigami, but he was like, no, like I'm still going through human life. Like I have a cold, I got my stomach hurts. I'm tired. Like, like he was writing everything, but what makes him Ikigami is not that he's like above being a human. What makes him Ikigami is that even through all these like human sufferings and human problems, he was so close to Kami-sama, and he didn't like blame Kami-sama or like think that it was like unfair or like bad. He was like, no, like this is what it means to be a human, and I'm living a human life with Kami-sama, and I know that after I pass away, it will fade away. But right now, I am a human. And even though people were calling him Ikigami-sama and they were coming to a shrine, like all this stuff, he was like, I'm still human. So that's like, that was, first of all, that was really moving to me. I really like that. I like that. I read it in like a Oboicho and Oboigaki. He's just like, I got sick. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, that's good. Like, that makes me feel happy. Because it feels so real. I don't know, it makes me emotional. Like it's real, right? But yeah, like like people, like the Tumblr people, they act like they never get sick, they never have to use the bathroom, etc. So I think that's the main difference, um like it's like so obvious when you kind of break it down, but it's easy to get it mixed up, like especially because people who kind of take advantage of spiritual stuff, they take like real legitimate spiritual teachings, and they kind of like appropriate them into their teachings, quote unquote. And so it's kind of like a cult where like you mix in like legitimate stuff with like weird stuff. And if you're in a vulnerable position yourself, it's easy to kind of like get confused, either by like the egotistical spiritual person or like a cult, because they're mixing up like legitimate stuff with like the weird stuff. So that's unfortunate too. And it's like it's really upsetting to see this happen, all because of like insecurities or like just wanting to feel power over others. And it's unfortunate because people who are legitimately wanting to help others, they get kind of like jumbled up in the same, like oh, they're all the same, right? Like from usually like from people who are not involved with anything like spiritual religious. And that is really upsetting because I do want to show people that there is a difference, especially my own family. Like I start with my family and friends, because I remember when I first became a minister, people were kind of like, my friends started to treat me different. They started to kind of treat me like at arms, like not like badly, but like, okay, Olivia is like a priest now, and so I can't be like silly with her, or like, we can't say the same jokes anymore. And I was like no, like like we are still friends. Like I'm not, like the only thing that changed is that like I have devoted myself to serving Kami-sama people, but that doesn't mean like I stop being a human. Like we can still joke, and like we're still friends, and like yeah, like you're my age, we're peers. Like you don't have to be like so distant all of a sudden when we were like best friends just a year ago. So thankfully things are okay now, but like I also want to kind of like show that just because you're pursuing a spiritual path, or like whether that's like being a priest, or like being more involved with the unseen world, it doesn't mean that you stop being human, and it doesn't mean that like suddenly you're like automatically like above others. Like yes, like of course you have to respect your senseis. I respect my senseis too, but I also I don't want to like you know make them feel like they're not a human, because we're all still human, like Konko Daijin sama, and like especially if it's Ikigami Konko Daijin sama, who like everyone, like these like really intense things happen, like blindness cured, like Kompira sama, the Takashi Tomi sensei, like all this stuff, and like everyone calling him Ikigami, and especially he still says he's just human, and he has to sleep, he has to eat. Then even more so, like for like other senseis and like me too, it's important not to forget the humanness as when we're alive too. And even after becoming ikigami, the reason it's ikigami and not kami is because we are still in a human body. So, the kami nature comes through the human body, but the fact that we are still human is like the fact. So I think that's the main difference, like that I want to kind of teach or like help show others. And it also helps to so they don't get like people don't get caught up with like ego people, like ego woo people, like pay $500 to talk to the angels. So I hope it's not like that. Right? Oh, sorry. Oh my gosh, there's so many comments. Sorry. Okay, well, sorry. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Hi, Ineza-san. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Vidim-san says, yeah, ego, 100%. That kind of person is always trying to talk about their spiritual experience and don't keep it private. Ah, yes, yes. I've had conversations with people telling me about how chosen they are. Oh no, and how spiritual everything around them is. And I'm like, okay, good for you, I guess. Oh no. Yeah, see, that's like, no, like, see, that's weird. Like, I guess, like, okay, in this situation, this is like weird. Like, I'm sorry, like, that's weird. Because, first of all, like, unless the spiritual experience is pertaining to you in some way, or they're like your really really like best friend, close friend, and they're like confiding in you to like trust you with something deep and spiritual, like I get it, like that makes sense. But if you're just like meeting you for the first time, or like they're an acquaintance and they're like I talked to Jesus, or like I don't know, I talked to Aphrodite. I don't know. I talked to Aphrodite and she told me like I'm the most beautiful person in the world. And it's like, okay, like like what am I supposed to say? It's like really awkward. And it's like I don't know you like that. And I don't think there's like anything like here for me to hear that. And I'm sure like Aphrodite would call everyone beautiful. So I don't really know, like this is really awkward right now. So it's kind of like that. But if it was like my best friend and my best friend said like, Olivia, like I had this experience with Aphrodite and it was like really crazy, and I'm like, am I crazy? And I'm like, no, you're not crazy. And we're like having a conversation between friends, and that's like private and like personal, and like I get it more. But if it's just like some like an acquaintance or like they're on their blog or something, like it was just like it's very unhinged. And it was like such a thing back then too. Like I remember like it was so common back then, and I think there's still like a little bit of residue now online, especially like on TikTok. Like all the people on Tumblr, I feel like they kind of moved to TikTok. And I see like I see like I see like reels on TikTok. And like for example, like I remember this one person, they're like Apollo said this to me, and they're like doing this on the camera, and I'm like, okay, like like I don't think like like this should have been put to bed 10 years ago. So like we had the discourse, we had the discussions why this is like not really appropriate, and like if you're over like 21 years old, like maybe you should like stop. Like especially like in 2026, like back then it was kind of more like Wild West, I guess. Like everyone was kind of like, is it okay to share? Everyone's sharing. Even me, like, oh my god, like I had my crazy blog back then. And I was like, everyone else is sharing. Let me share my experiences too, because I want to be a part of the community. And looking back, I'm like, what was I okay? Like, it was such a disaster. But again, like that wasn't really for ego, because like it was kind of like a community thing. But now, like the situation has kind of shifted more, and now it's like when you talk about it, it's like okay, like what do we do with this information? It's like very awkward, and it's like a little bit uncomfortable, and it's like this should be like a discussion, like with some people you trust, and it's like in a situation, like And again, like these, it depends on the content of the things too, because sometimes it's just like I don't think there's anything wrong with saying like you saw a sign from a deity, but when you're like there would be people who say like they had like intimate relations with a deity on their like public blog, and that was like stuff I started to see that like made me uncomfortable, like that I was in this community, because then I started to realize like people weren't really like sincere. There was a lot of people who were here just for like ego and like flaunting and like treating gods as like fictional characters sometimes, and like the $500 angel message person, like it was like I was realizing like this isn't a good or healthy community, and I don't think everyone here is really sincere, and like I don't want to be a part of this. I'd rather just like talk to my friends about it, like even if like I know it's crazy sometimes, but I'd rather talk to someone I trust and I feel would understand and like I can rely on, than like trying to find trust in people who aren't sincere and who will take advantage and look at your vulnerabilities, and all that sort of stuff is really bad, and it still exists now, online spaces. And I really like 10 years later, um with all the wisdom gained, I just think it's very like inappropriate, and it's not good to like do this kind of thing like in public spaces and online. Like it should really just be like just something between you and like someone you trust, right? So, and like not public spaces. Tifa says, oh wait, sorry, no, no. Yeah, Tifa says they take the money and go. Yeah. And Vadim says, oh, just sorry, just $500 for angel message. Pack one for me, please. Exactly. Sorry, I'm making fun of it, but it was like because it was so shocking, and I'm like, it wasn't. The funniest part was it wasn't even an angel in the Bible. It was like it was like an angel they made up. So it was That was the funniest part, because it wasn't even like Archangel Michael or like Uriel or like Haniel or something. It was just like something, like their personal made up angel, and I was like, this is interesting. Sorry, I'm sounding a little bit mean, but also but also that I think that person was not treating others really correctly and taking advantage of their vulnerable states. So I don't really have any like I guess I should be nicer, but you know, sorry, Kami-sama, but still, oh my goodness. Okay, Rimsa says, can't be too silly with my senseis because all of them are older than me anyway. Oh, oh no. That's okay. I think there's some senseis that are really nice. Like I think about like Rodney Sensei. Well, maybe I shouldn't say names out loud, but like at San Francisco, like everyone's pretty chill. I really like Rodney Sensei. He's cool, and there's some senseis who are like they're really friendly and they're nice, and I want to be a friendly sensei too. But I feel like there's also like there's a certain generation, like the older generation, like above 60 years old, I would say for me. I can't be silly with them at all. Like I just feel like like sumimasen, like I get too nervous. So I understand the feeling. Like some senses it's okay to be friendly, like respectful friendly, just normal conversation. It's all good. But yeah, for some senseis, especially elder ones, I'm like, like super, super nervous because I know that they have like a lot of experience and a lot of divine virtue, and then like I don't want them to think like I don't respect them. So I want to be like super respectful. Unless they like are friendly to me, and then I'll be friendly. But it's like it's a lot of difficult dynamics and complicated situations. But yeah, like I don't think there's any trouble to be like friendly or anything. So yeah, but it's good. um, Vanessa says also the worst thing is to meet a group of woo no huge spiritual people, and all of them sharing their thing and saying yes, go kunti to each other. Sorry, that made me laugh. But it's so true. It's so true. Like it's just like it's really embarrassing. And yeah, Tifa, like it's still a thing if you look hard enough, and it's like guys, like it's 2026. Like It's really it's like, oh my god, I'm laughing because I'm remembering everything, like the year, like, so from, I would say, from like 2013, no, 2012 to like 2018 maybe. It was kind of like common for this like community style to kind of exist, where deities were treated like they were like anime characters, and there was like fan fiction written about them, and like, yeah, and it was really bad. Like, I'm laughing because I look back and I'm like, what was that? Like, I'm like baffled by it. Um, and I'm like, I'm trying to be as good faith as possible because I know like nobody's perfect. Like, we all been in situations, especially back then. It was kind of like a new thing. So like everyone's like again, it was like me and some others. Like, there was like sincere people, and they were mixing in with the ego people, and they were mixing in with like the fan fiction people, and it was like a disaster. It was like a Wild West disaster. And there was even some like abusive people in there, like really scary, like cult leader minded type people who would like try to take advantage of other people. It was a mess. It was a mess. So I'm laughing because I'm remembering all that. And thankfully, like the sincere people, like we as in like, people who are really trying to connect to the divine, like everyone in that kind of group kind of moved on and like realized like this is insane. So let's just like, be like, show we're serious. And a lot of really good like groups kind of developed from that. Like, what I mean by groups is like people who are really sincere about worshiping the gods, and teaching about the ancient ways. Like, they're kind of formed from that Wild West era. So I really like that. Um, that was a positive from that era. But the other types of people, they kind of moved on to like TikTok and still on Tumblr, and that's where you get the Yes Queen tea, and like, yeah, like you said, Hecate told me, or Ma Kali has a message for you, or this video didn't find you by accident. I love this. Those videos make me laugh all the time. And it's always like, did you know your true love is still thinking about you? And if you like pick the gemstone that resonates with you most and share this post to 10 people on WhatsApp, and I'm like, I don't even have 10 people on WhatsApp. It's so funny. I'm like, what is this? Like, I mean, I sometimes I like, if I treat it as entertainment, it's funny, but then also I'm like, oh god, like this is really embarrassing as someone who's like trying to like be sincere about, like connecting to Kami-sama and like the unseen world. Like, this is very like detrimental because I don't want to people to think like when I say like do toritsugi that it's the same as like send this to 10 people on WhatsApp and then you get like click or like say or send this to yourself to manifest it. Like, it's so crazy. So I laugh about it because it's crazy, but it's like, oh my god, the clock did the thing again. It did the 2:05 thing again. Can I show on the webcam? No, I don't know, but it's okay. It's weird. I don't want to like unplug the webcam and then the stream dies. But it's 2:05 and the clock did the thing again. It did the and then it stopped. I don't know. But that it's just like, oh my god. It's just so embarrassing and so weird and like it's crazy. Okay, so Vidimsan says, I just feel like being super respectful and serious as sensei is right for me, both because of spiritual and age difference. Oh, yes. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad that it works. It's good for you. Just, I'm glad. Like, it's good that it's that way. Because, I just worried because, like, I know some people are like, they're like, I have to be respectful to sensei. Like, no, okay, no, hold on. Let me go back. So, yes, of course we have to be respectful to sensei, right? That is a given. But what I mean by that is like some people say like they feel like they cannot be close to their sensei. So then the toritsugi becomes very dry. And what I mean by that is like they feel like they cannot, not you, I'm just saying like my past experiences, like they feel like they cannot tell their sensei like everything, like, and you know what I mean by everything is like all the like the silly stuff or like the crude stuff or like the weird stuff. Like they feel like because they're the sensei is older and they should respect them, they cannot like open up to them about like everything, right? In Toritsugi. But it's important to be able to do that, to open up to your sensei and feel comfortable with them. And you can do that in a respectful way. But as long as you don't let the respect you have for the sensei and like the acknowledgement of the age difference, as long as you don't let it be like a wall, um, it's very good to have. But I know that like some people, some younger people, they kind of like it becomes a wall, and it becomes very difficult to be able to do like toritsugi properly, because like then like if something they think is like the sensei doesn't want to hear, um like treating it like, you know, like toritsugi as in like keeping your image, I guess. But you should be able to talk about anything you want to talk about freely. So it shouldn't be like, just think of the sensei as like kami-sama, and the same respect you show to kami-sama in prayer, but while telling them anything on your mind. That should be the same way with sensei. So like for me, like when I was younger, like was going through so much stuff with like university and like all sorts like work and all sorts of things. And I was doing toritsugi with Kishi sensei. Hold on, sorry. My nose is running a bit. Sorry. But I would do toritsugi with Kishi sensei, and he's like way older than me. And I respect him super deeply. I don't know where it would be without Kishi sensei. But right now, like he's like, for example, like I think he's like 60 years or more older than me. So I would have moments where I would be like, I can't tell Kishi sensei about like my dumb drama in university. Like I would be having a situation with like my ex or whatever, and like I have an argument or something, and I'm like, I can't tell Kishi sensei about that. It's really embarrassing. Like he's gonna like, I don't want to be like rude and like, you know, I was putting a wall up, right? Um, but then like I kind of felt like, but this is Toritsugi, you know, so I should tell everything to Kishi sensei so he can tell it to Kami-sama. So in a respectful way, you know, I told Kishi sensei, I'm like, Kishi sensei, like the other day I got into an argument with my ex, and we were playing like, I don't know, we're playing Magic the Gathering, and like et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, like just like little dumb things. But I was gonna by opening up more, I kind of ended up like talking a little bit more friendly naturally. But like it was okay. Like I think in that situation with Toritsugi, like it was okay because it was for Kami-sama, and it was very like sincere to me at the time. So because I was like, you know, I was like 18, 19, like that was the way I could express myself, the best way to Kishi sensei. Now, of course, like, you know, I've had more experience, more growing up, and I can articulate myself more maturely. And you know, I guess I'm still in between the like youthful expression versus like the mature expression. I'm still kind of like evolving, I guess. But like back then it was like way more like it was like way more all over the place. Um but like outside of Toritsugi, like I still like wanted to like I still was like very respectful, and I didn't like take up too much, you know, like I didn't see Kishi sensei as my equal. Like I knew he was my sensei. And in Toritsugi I could tell him anything, but outside of Toritsugi, like he was sensei, so like, you know, I wanted to help him out at the kyokai, and like Toshiko sensei, his wife, and you know, I wanted to help them and respect them. So I think it's like weird a little bit with senseis, because like you should feel comfortable to share anything in Toritsugi, especially like you know, like if you ever get the chance to do like a video toritsugi or like a call toritsugi, it's good to be able to like open open up more. But yeah, like outside of that too, it's good to be respectful, and like in general and stuff. But like that's what we were talking about, like the live stream last time, like basic respect for others, and then like everyone can have basic respect and it's friendly, but then for like older senseis, like the respect goes up some more, and so on and so on. So it's like it's complicated, but as long as you're not like putting a wall up, I think it's good. Um, but of course, like I'm not saying this like you have to. Like I'm just saying like naturally as you like go through doing toritsugi, just remember like you shouldn't fear being disrespectful in toritsugi, because toritsugi is where you tell kami-sama everything through the toritsugi mediator. But of course that's like within like with the good intentions. Like you can't like no, you know what? Actually, no, sorry. Like, because I remember, some of my sensei told me like my other senseis, like Andy Sensei at Portland Kyokai. He told me like sometimes people would do toritsugi with him, and they would be like swearing. They would say like "f you," like "f that guy," and like he was such a et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, like swearing at the okekai, like just completely venting explosion in front of Andy Sensei. And I was like, oh my god, like what did you do? Like Sensei, what did you do? Like isn't that super bad? And he said, I remember him saying, he said no, because the okekai is the kuboi tokoro, which is like where all the bad things go into, like kind of like a toilet. Like you let all the bad stuff out at the okekai. And in that moment, like even though the person's being like they're like venting and they're swearing and they're being like really crazy, but after that, like they realize like they feel so much lighter because they were able to just get it out of their system. And Andy since told me like he's like that wasn't disrespectful to me because it was toritsugi, and the person otherwise was always very like respectful to me and like kind to me. So like there was this like dynamic, so like I was gonna say like, oh no, you shouldn't swear, or said it. Like no, I remember the story. That never happened to me here in Japan. Because especially in Japan, like people are very like extra, formal. But it has happened a lot of times with my senseis, where people just like were super open and sincere, even if it was kind of crazy. And I think that's okay too. So as long as you don't worry about that during toritsugi, I think it's good. But yeah, otherwise, like it makes sense to like want to show differential respect, not only because of sensei but because of the age difference too. And for me too, like I don't think, I honestly don't like, even the sensei closest in age to me, I like still respect her a lot. So I'm not like I don't try to be like, you know I don't try to like act like we're like the same level, I guess, like, you know what I mean. Like I respect that she's my senior sensei and senior in age, even though she's only like a few years older than me, but still, so I get it completely too. So sorry, it was a big, huge rant, but I just, I just remembered, I kept remembering things because, yeah, like I guess like the difference between like, like the cultural differences and stuff. So, but everything's again like it's kuboi tokoro. Like you should just be able to let out everything. Oh, sorry. Okay, let me see. Sorry. Jameson says, I know I'm also often bombing with questions, you Olivia Sensei, and sorry about that. Oh, no, don't worry. It's no problem. But that's not even a half of Kongo questions I have. I have to back up and stop yapping. Oh no. Oh, please feel free. Like, I'm always happy to help answer, and like Masafumi Sensei too, and like all the other senseis, I'm sure they'd be super super happy. The more questions you ask, and there's no problem. Like in terms of like, oh, it's like, oh my god, it's so annoying. Like it's not like that. Like of course, like we have a lot of responsibilities and like things to do, but the like for senseis, like we learn how to like not just in gakuin but like in the kyokai life, like we learn how to manage the time. And I know I'm like I know I'm always like up at like now at 2 o'clock in the morning, but that is because basically what happens is like I like stay up late to do online stuff because of time zones. And then like usually I'm cleaning up the table and everything, and I'm like, okay, let's check the messages, like see what's going on. And then by the time I'm done cleaning up, like it's okay, right? Like the time is managed. But then because Masafumi Sensei knows that like I'm doing overseas goyo, like I get to sleep in, so it's okay. Like I usually sleep in till like sometimes, well, like sometimes I wake up early, but then I can sleep later. But other times I can sleep in till like like 10, 11. So I get like a full 7 hours of sleep. So it's not a big deal. But I do like I make sure like right now actually like my phone is on the sleep mode because there's like no notifications. And I just manually check before I go to sleep. But like after that, it's just like it's like dead quiet. So yeah, don't worry, don't worry at all. I honestly wish I could answer more like faster, but the human body is like not. My body's like no, just no, don't do that. I'm like okay, but yeah. So usually like it's not a big deal, even though it's late. But yeah. So I remember before many years ago, I asked Kami-sama. I was like, Kami-sama, can I like I want to have a schedule like Konko-sama. Like I want to wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning and do prayers and like do prayers again at like 6 a.m. and then do it again at 8 a.m. Like like the life I was living in Konko Town. I wanted to like live that here, and I felt Kami-sama was like, like I think you could do Goyo more. Sorry, like I felt like Kami-sama was saying like you can do Goyo in more productive ways, and that is more sincere to you than trying to just like emulate for like the aesthetic, I guess, like for the memories, like because the lifestyle in Konko Town is different than the lifestyle at Yokosuka Kyokai. And a lot of my Goyo here is for people overseas, like people in North America, Europe, elsewhere. And of course, you got to take into account time zones. So that's why, like, I feel like Kami-sama's like maybe this is better. Like maybe this way is better for you, Olivia, than when you were in Konko Town. It was more natural to wake up with the same schedule, like do like odekaki, like wake up with Konko-sama and then watch him do the procession. So it would be like from 3 a.m. to 4 p.m. or like 3 p.m. I don't remember exactly. But basically the day would begin early, but it would end early. And that made sense in Konko Town because there wasn't really much to do after. Like I didn't have a phone, I didn't have a computer. I was just like living in the town schedule and living through the like Hombu Hiromai, like the main shrine, like the main Hiromai hall schedule, and that made sense because there was nothing else to do. But just trying to replicate that for the vibe wasn't really sincere. So yeah, every sensei has their kind of like flow, I guess, that works for them. So, some sensei, it's easier for them to like work in the early morning to early evening. Some senseis like me is like staying up crazy hours, but not really crazy because, it just evens out. And yeah, like even Masafumi sensei is kind of similar where like he starts work more in the evening, like around 4 p.m. till like midnight. So it's like a little bit like Masumi Sensei's Goyo is like here, and mine's kind of like shifting here, and then it kind of like it's like a good rhythm. So yeah, you don't have to worry. Anyways, the whole thing is like you don't have to worry if you ever have a question for a sensei. Yeah, like we're like in the flow, so it's okay. So don't worry. Also, like I feel like too, like Kami-sama, like I feel like Tenchikan and Kami-sama, like if there's some like big thing or like the timing, I feel like they like show the sensei or like even another person sometimes like the right timing to like address something. So like sometimes I might not see an email or a message at the exact moment, but then I'll see it and then I'll reply, and then the person's like, "Oh my god, the timing because something something something." I was like, "Oh my god, the timing like it's coming somewhere." At least I think it's coming somewhere, because for me it was just like a situation of seeing the message and then replying, but then it was like for them it was like the right timing. So it's pretty crazy like how that works out. But I do need to like get something get a situation handled with like my email and stuff. I don't know if it's like Kami-sama or like just my email, but sometimes like I have to resend Toritsugi. But then like when I resend it, like that was the actual timing that like they needed to hear the message. So I think I have to get better at I have to get better at listening to Kami-sama. Because sometimes I get into like this work mode where I'm like, I gotta reply everything, and I don't like. It's bad to say, but I don't like. I should consult Kami-sama in prayer before I start to answer emails. But sometimes I'm just like, I have to take everything back, like a work mindset instead of a Toritsugi mindset, and that's usually when things go wrong. So I think, yeah, like Tifa-san, yeah, like sometimes I get email issues, but I think it's an Olivia issue. I think it's me, and I have to pray to Kami-sama more before, like, I have to shift my mindset from like typical worker 9 to 5 mindset to Toritsugi mediator mindset. So I think that's kind of like my yearly sensei evolution thing that I have to work on, is that I have to like really pray to Kami-sama before like I just go into work mode, because it's not work, it's goyo. So I have to like evolve myself to make it better. I feel bad about it, but shogun, I have to just keep trying, right? So yeah, but it's gonna be good. It'll be much better, I think. So yeah, but yeah. So it's just all these little things make me realize like how Kami-sama is really like they're really working through the world, like not just in the human side but nature side too. And I know that they like don't control everything, or like they're not like grand master plan, like according to Keikaku, like like that, like the anime joke. Like I know Kamisama's not like that. Because if they could, like this world would be a lot more peaceful. I feel like, or a lot more balanced. But that's why again, like it's Ayo Kakeo. Like we have to, and like again, like I was saying earlier, like we have to connect to Kami-sama, and we have to keep that connection and work to become Ikigami. And when we can do that, shift from the human-centered heart to Kami-centered heart, I think everything will go a lot better. So like even me now, like with this like little thing, shifting from like work mode, human mode to like Kami-centered heart and Kami-centered actions, I think things will go a lot smoother. And that's like my little corner right now. but it goes on to everything, right? So maybe someday, like as a whole, the world will get better the more we can kind of like shift the mindset, you know. So I hope we can do that, but I have to do it first. Because like we were saying from the beginning, you can control your own actions more than anything. Even the way you react to things or the way you think about things. So it's got to start with yourself and where you are at now. And I have to do it too. So even though I've been learning a lot, there's still like so much to learn more. So there's a lot. But yeah, so okay, so now we're at 2 hours to the stream, so and it is almost 2:30, so I should get going now. But yeah, it was really good. Oh, Ines, speaking of emails, have the newsletter been sent out? Oh my gosh, thank you for telling me. Not yet. No, sorry. Actually, I was preparing them, but today was just really, really crazy. But I'm going to do that after I log off the stream. So please expect it very shortly in the next like half an hour. So yes, but thank you so much again, Ines Han, for making the newsletter. It's incredible, and I'm really excited to send it out and hear what other people have to say. And thank you so much. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Redeem-san. Thank you, Ines-san. Thank you, Tifa. Thank you so much. Okay, I'll see you guys next time on Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday. Also, there's no meetings in the Discord this weekend. So is it oh my god. No, yeah, tomorrow's Sunday. Sorry, I'm like, is it Monday or Sunday tomorrow? But yeah, thank you so much. Okay. I hope you all have a great night and great day. Please take care. Bye for now. ありがとうございました。失礼します。Bye.